Well, we have several trusts in the country. One is a Social Security Disability Trust. There's another Social Security trust for seniors for old age. There's a Medicare trust fund that pays for Medicare. There's a Highway Trust Fund, and so these trust funds are all projected to expire within a decade or so. In some cases, just within 2 or 3 years. So, in order to avoid a dramatic reduction in benefits for these programs, we need to take action now to make sure that we save them and we assure their long term solvency. So, the Trust Act sets up a bipartisan commission for each one of the trusts. And the plan is that for Republicans and Democrats coming together, if we can come up with a solution to keep these trusts solvent, then we will vote on that on an expedited basis and finally get them on a secure financial basis. Medicare, for instance, the trust is projected to run out within 3 to 4 years. Social Security looks like about 12 years. And in the case, for instance, of what happens when the Social Security Trust Fund is gone, which would happen in 10 to 12 years, under the law, that would result in approximately a 30% reduction in benefits. So that's unacceptable. That cannot happen. So we need to take action to make sure that enough revenue is coming into these trusts and enough funding is coming out such that they become in balance long term, so that we don't have to worry about ever seeing a reduction in benefits for any current retiree. Well, each one of the trust funds would have a separate super committee or rescue committee set up to evaluate different proposals to get them solvent. And so you'd have an equal number of Republicans and Democrats, 6 each. 3 would come from the House, 3 would come from the Senate, again from each party. They would work through hearings and a public discussion to see if they can't come up with a bipartisan solution, with obviously some things the Democrats want and some things Republicans want, would be my guess. If they can come up with a solution which has bipartisan support within the group of 12, then that would go to the floor of the House and the Senate for an expedited vote, meaning without amendment. If instead you asked Republicans to write a bill, it wouldn't pass with Democrats. And if you asked Democrats to write a bill, it wouldn't pass with Republicans. And in our system of government, it takes both parties to come together to actually pass a law. And so experience has taught us that when a small group comes together and works very hard, studies something intently, and works on a very focused basis, they often can come up with a proposal that works for both parties, that, if you will, accepts the best of both, adheres to the principles that both parties believe are important, and on that basis comes up with an idea which then can go for a vote. What often happens instead is that one party or another puts something on the floor, it's unsuccessful, amendments are placed upon it which make it, if you will, poisoned, a poison pill, if you will, from amendment. I think both parties have found it's really good political fodder to accuse the opposition of doing something to hurt Social Security or Medicare. So anytime anyone even talks about those programs, why, the knives come out and accusations are made that someone is trying to hurt Social Security or Medicare. In this case, it's just the opposite. What we're trying to do, and by the way, this is supported both by Republicans and Democrats. 30 Democrats in the House of Representatives signed a letter to Speaker Pelosi saying, please include this in the upcoming legislation. Republicans as well have signed on. So this is a bipartisan effort with people saying, gosh, we've got to save these trust funds. And let me also note, the only way we're ever going to get to a balanced budget is if we do save these trust funds, because our spending in Washington is out of control. it's not closed doors. Just like anything else in Congress, it's open to the public. Hearings will be held. They will be open to the public. Discussions will be had across the country for each one of these trust funds. And I can assure you, there's no way the Democrats or the Republicans are going to vote for cuts to people who are on Social Security or Medicare. That's just not going to happen. Neither party wants that to happen. What we're looking at is what has to be done down the road to make sure there's enough revenue coming in to assure that the young people that are going to rely on Social Security and Medicare 20, 30, 40 years from now actually have a program that's solvent and that can provide the benefits which are being promised today.